Or let me draw your attention to health, which is so much in our minds after the COVID pandemic. Indian pharmaceuticals have helped to keep healthcare affordable and accessible the world over. Our Bhabatron cancer treatment machines are today in use in Mongolia, in Uzbekistan, in Myanmar, and in Kenya, among others. Even our low-cost pharmacies, which are called Jan Aushadhi Kendras, are beginning to get attention abroad, starting with Mauritius. And in fact, the supply of Jan Aushadhi medicine is ongoing to Nauru and to Guyana. Our renewable experiences are also being similarly shared through the International Solar Alliance. Similarly, our disaster preparedness is being done through the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Most important, digital public infrastructure, whose benefits all of you personally experience every day in India. It is today receiving global traction. Among those who have shown interest include Sri Lanka, Kenya, Tanzania, Colombia, Cuba, and Angola. The same logic is also visible when it comes to capacity building. Our objective is to create capabilities on a sustainable basis in other societies, drawing on our experiences and learnings. They can extend from the big to the small, from the complex to the obvious, from the creative to the routine. Be it engineers in Zanzibar or solar mamas in the Pacific, from vocational training to information technology, from improving tax systems to ensuring security, India's partnership footprint is large and growing. It spans the exchanges of trainers and students to ensuring distance education and virtual health training. So I urge you to recall the adage of giving a man a fish versus teaching him how to fish. We in India advocate the second, the lifetime solution. India's neighborhood has experienced this commitment to finding cooperative solutions more than any other region. In fact, the last decade has seen a real transformation in connectivity and contacts. There are today power grids, fuel pipelines, road, railways and waterways that could not have even been imagined a decade earlier. In every crisis, we have stood together in this region for our collective well-being. It could be vaccine supply during the COVID, or fuel and fertilizer supply after the Ukraine war, post-earthquake response and relief in Nepal and Myanmar, or first responder endeavors in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Maldives. Like in any grouping, there obviously has to be a mutuality of benefits and respect for each other's sensitivities that characterizes our contemporary world. This willingness to stand by each other will only become more important with the passage of time. Friends, trusted friends are usually found in testing times. This is both a personal experience as well as a policy reality. Often, we are confronted with natural disasters or even man-made situations that are beyond the national capacities of any country to cope. This could be an earthquake or a typhoon, a conflict or a pandemic, indeed, anything that is unforeseen and consequential. In such contingencies, the cooperative facet of world affairs comes to the fore. Relying on those more distant and less connected is no longer prudent. There is neither the same capability nor indeed the necessary empathy. India has certainly taken on much more responsibility in the last decade. It was visible when an earthquake recently struck Myanmar, or when conflict zone evacuations took place, such as in Ukraine, or in fact during the Sri Lankan economic crisis. The world today is returning to its natural diversity and to its pluralism. As colonial empires ended, many societies have regained their voice along with their freedom. The membership of the United Nations has itself quadrupled since its founding. It is essential that in our quest towards a more equitable and contemporary world order, that there is mutual respect for cultures, traditions, and heritage. While the colonial era may be behind us, new forms of domination have emerged, misusing the openings provided by globalization. They profess to judge us all and pronounce on our credentials. One example is the ill-concealed interference in the politics of nations of the global south, often in the name of promoting democracy. You have today done your country, your family, but most important, you have done yourselves proud through your achievements. I wish you all the very best for your growth, for your success, for your happiness. Thank you very much. What we saw was an attempt to devastate the tourism economy of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, as well as an evil design to sowing religious discord. The barbarity of the killings required an exemplary response, which was delivered by destroying terrorist command centers, especially in Bhabalpur and Muridke. It is imperative that those who sponsor, nurture, and utilize terrorism for their ends are made to pay a high cost. That it warranted a forceful response even after the 26/11 attack in Mumbai in 2008 is widely acknowledged. But times have changed and our resolve is much stronger now. Terrorism epicenters are no longer immune. India's zero tolerance for terrorism is manifest today through its actions. We will never give in to nuclear blackmail, and whatever decisions have to be taken in India's national interest are taken and will continue to be taken. As we responded to the Pahalgam attack, it was also heartening to witness the understanding from other nations of our right to defend ourselves against terrorism. There are other pressing challenges too faced by the world, especially by our brothers and sisters of the global south. We all realized during the COVID pandemic how much our health security was dependent on others. The Ukraine conflict brought home the vulnerabilities of energy security. The shortage of fertilizers and the scarcity of food grains left many economies deeply impacted. Debt situations have worsened even as trade prospects deteriorated in face of financial decisions taken far away. And through all this, the pressures of climate change have grown steadily, although the resources to combat them have shrunk. I highlight these concerns not to alarm you, but to urge an awareness and understanding of the larger challenges faced by humanity. Each one of us, in whatever we do, can find some way of making a difference. Now, precisely because the world is so volatile and uncertain, it is essential to all in very good stead.
Open.
Of the Padma Shri Award in 2019 and has written a widely acclaimed best-selling book.
I don't see anything. President, Parul University, Dr. Devanshu Patel. Understandably, it is an important event in Parul's institutional calendar. But more than that, it is a defining moment in the personal lives of those completing their degree. The thoughts that I share with you on such an occasion is meant for both. It is natural in standing before graduating foreign students to talk about the importance of international cooperation. After all, your studies, your stay in India is an expression of that very concept. It is also equally important that Indian students and even faculty appreciate its importance. And there is a particular perspective that a foreign minister can bring to bear on that subject. The world today holds unparalleled opportunities, even while it confronts daunting challenges. Addressing either of them is best done through partnerships and collaborations. No country, however large and powerful, can manage alone. That is the reality of interdependence and of globalization, as also a statement about the limits of power. We may talk a lot about the promise of technology, but whether it is talent, whether it is data or it is resources, everything cannot just be nationally generated or controlled. In fact, the very idea of a global order, or indeed of international relations, is the assumption that nations have to work with each other for their mutual and collective benefit. The rest is about setting optimal terms to do so. Understandably, it is an important event in Parul's institutional calendar. But more than that, it is a defining moment in the personal lives of those completing their degree. The thoughts that I share with you on such an occasion is meant for both. It is natural in standing before graduating foreign students to talk about the importance of international cooperation. After all, your studies, your stay in India is an expression of that very concept. It is also equally important that Indian students and even faculty appreciate its importance. And there is a particular perspective that a foreign minister can bring to bear on that subject. The world today holds unparalleled opportunities, even while it confronts daunting challenges. Addressing either of them is best done through partnerships and collaborations. No country, however large and powerful, can manage alone. That is the reality of interdependence and of globalization, as also a statement about the limits of power. We may talk a lot about the promise of technology, but whether it is talent, whether it is data or it is resources, everything cannot just be nationally generated or controlled. In fact, the very idea of a global order, or indeed of international relations, is the assumption that nations have to work with each other for their mutual and collective benefit. The rest is about setting optimal terms to do so. Perhaps some of you are wondering why I'm laboring the obvious. And the answer is that the contemporary discourse has many assertions to the contrary. Some do not give that much value to friendships. Others have hardwired their cynicism into policies and structures. And that is why, to foreign students, I highlight, just as your president did just now, the relevance of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world as a family. Now, having lived in India for some years, I think all of you can assess for yourself our openness, our pluralism, and our diversity, as also our long tradition of growing with the world instead of distancing ourselves from it. In many ways, we stand out by promoting commonness rather than seeking uniformity. That you can see in our languages, in our faiths, in customs, traditions, cuisine, and practices. Our openness to each other in India makes us just as open with the world. We therefore neither build walls, real or metaphorical, nor impose our ways on others.